Hey everybody, Big Anklevich here, podcaster, author, and carnivore, and it is day 24 of the Beef, Butter, Bacon, and Eggs Challenge with me and Marshall Latham, and we're cruising along. Let's see what we got going on this day, day 24. It is day 24, I believe, which is a Saturday, and let's see, today I caught up on some stuff. Been doing a lot of fasting, so I haven't been doing a lot of eating. There's a bunch of stuff in my fridge that I hadn't eaten. So this morning when I woke up, I had, let's see, there was one little leftover hamburger patty from what I ate the other day. And I finished that off. And then I threw in a package of stew meat that I had into our air fryer. And I cooked that up. And I had that for my breakfast with a bunch of butter. And then later in the day, actually quite a bit later in the day, it was almost like 5 o'clock when I finally ate, I took a roast that I bought, I would say 3 weeks ago, probably, and I went upstairs and I dug around until I found our Instapot, and I put that roast into the Instapot, and I cooked it. It only took an hour to cook this roast into something yummy. And I had that again with a bunch of butter, finished off the stick of butter that we had. That was, it was pretty tasty. Probably needed more salt, which I put on it after it came out. I'm not sure what the best way is, because, you got to put water down in there with the roast so that it doesn't, I guess, burn or whatever. So I'm not sure what the best way is to make sure that it has salt on it. But anyways, that was pretty cool. That's one thing that I really like about eating meat. It lasts a little longer than other things. That roast was in the fridge for 3 weeks, and it didn't even smell slightly funky. It was just fine. And it cooked up and tasted just fine. And I can guarantee you, like, for example, the strawberries that we tend to get around here, those things are fuzzy and foul within a week or less. So save money by having food that doesn't go bad on you quite as fast. It's an important thing to do these days. So give it a shot.
Hey, it's day 24 of the Beef, Butter, Bacon, and Egg Challenge. And yesterday I actually had 3 meals, which was odd. Woke up in the in-laws cabin and cooked up 6 eggs. Well, my wife cooked up 6 eggs. That was nice of her for me to eat. The only problem was we didn't have bacon, so no bacon grease, and I forgot to bring butter, and the only thing that my mother-in-law had was margarine. And I was like, oh man. So I just told my wife, use as little as possible of the margarine, and so she did, and it wasn't terrible, but yeah, the margarine stuff is garbage, not good for you. And then we went down to a campground area to spend the day with her family, hiking and all. I did lots and lots of hiking. I didn't calculate the miles, but yeah, I was worn out at the end of the day. But my sister-in-law, she was in charge of food, and she asked if I needed beef. They were having tacos. Well, they had hot dogs for lunch and then a taco bar thing for dinner. And she goes, you want me to pick you up some beef? And I was thinking, sure. She grabbed some hamburgers. We grill up some hamburgers. Well, she got me 4 steaks, which is pretty amazing that she would do that for me. And so, yeah, I had 1.5 steaks for lunch because I gave some to my wife when everybody else was just having hot dogs. And then for the taco bar, I was going to have her just cook up the hamburger like the taco meat, but just before she puts in the seasoning, I'll just put a bunch of hamburger on my plate and eat that. But she had already put all the seasonings in the tacos, and I thought, well, that doesn't matter. I can just do it this one time. But I actually ended up, she had bought the 4 steaks, so I cooked up more steaks. So I had really 3 steaks at the end of the day. I could have had 4 steaks, but there was no way. But that was great. That was good. Filled me up. Gave me the energy that I needed to do all that hiking and stuff. So, but I didn't have butter. All they had was margarine, so I didn't add any butter to my steaks. Just some salt on them, which tasted good. But yeah, I didn't get much fat yesterday. But that's okay. I can make up for that.
All right, so there you go. Marshall had himself a time while he was out there traveling. He was off at I guess it was a family reunion or whatever. And that's tough. You got to just deal with what they've got to eat, or make sure you bring all your own stuff. And he got lucky when his sister got him those nice big steaks. That sounds great. When my wife was a kid, her parents would do this. They would buy steaks because they didn't have money to afford steaks often. So when they bought steaks, they would get steaks just for the parents, and then the kids would have hot dogs. So you were like the parents of your family, Marshall. There you go. You were having the steaks while everybody else had hot dogs. But that's pretty fun. I feel bad for you for having to eat margarine. Oh my gosh, the PUFA. Oh, the horror. Yeah, you got to avoid those polyunsaturated fatty acids because they are not good for you. They are cancer in butter stick form, disguised as butter. Horrible, horrible things. Yeah, stay away from anything that's made from vegetable oil if you possibly can. Apparently Marshall couldn't, but at least he kept it as low as possible. So that's a good idea. Yeah, I would say that he did pretty good. He did send me a text on this day, and it was this picture that you see here, and next to that he said, "This used to be tempting to me." And I thought that was interesting because I felt the same way. You know, I looked at the picture and, well, the cookies were definitely a Achilles heel for me. And I love red vines, so that would also be a real problem for me. But the chips, yeah, I probably could have taken or left the chips. Those cheese ball things, though, I would have run screaming from those things. Even back in the day, I think those are so gross. But some people like them, and it can be tempting, but it's cool to see that he was not even tempted by that stuff. He just looked at all that stuff and went, screw you guys. And I had a similar thing this week when just tons of donuts and cinnamon rolls. They had cinnamon rolls that were like this big, basically like the world's largest cinnamon rolls, big old cinnamon rolls. And then they came with cups full of icing to pour on top of them. 2 cups that were like the size of like Solo cups. And all of that stuff was there, all these donuts and donuts holes and cinnamon rolls. And they came in after everybody had left to go home. And so there was only a few people, just the night shift was still left in the building, and all that stuff was just going to sit there and dry out. It was all going to be probably thrown away before anybody came along to eat it, other than me. And in the old days, I would have been like, oh, well, I better, you know, take care of that then. I better eat as much as I can. I would have chogged on those things. I would have just chowed down. I would have been back for more and more until I was so sick that I felt like I was ready to puke. And this time I just looked at it and said, nah, not going to do it. Better that poison gets thrown in the garbage than goes in my mouth. So yeah, it's nice to be able to have that strength to just turn your nose up at things like that. And pretty cool to see Marshall really taking it to that stuff. Just being like, I'm not going to eat the hamburger meat that has the taco seasoning on it, because that's full of dextrose and who knows what else is in that starch. And best to avoid that if you can. And when you got steaks, why not, right? But yeah, it's always important to plan ahead when you're eating carnivore. Marshall, next time, make sure you bring a stick of that Kerrygold with you, or 2, depending on how long you're going to be gone. I suppose you probably learned your lesson. So the next time you got to go somewhere, you'll be thinking ahead a little bit more. That's an important thing to do on Carnivore, and particularly on beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. So there you go. That's day 25. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Big Anklevich on Health.